come now and take everything. Sometimes they will tell you that you don't have children and you are not entitled to anything. They will just abandon you like this, and now here will be vulnerable. You will not be able to have anything, considering the emotion that you have lost your husband. We want women to know that even if they lost their husband, you're still a member of this family. You have rights in everything, even if the husband is not here. It is painful to see your sisters being cut out of the family that she has been building from zero. Sometimes you get those women someone has started with the husband from nowhere, and the husband just died, kalas. They will just abandon you like this now. These things belong to our son, and you are not part of that. They forget the contribution you have made during the struggle with the husband.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. A Kenyan national serving as an airdrop coordinator for the World Food Programme was shot and killed early Tuesday morning in Boma, Nasser County. A coalition of child rights and civil society organizations has urged the National Parliament to reject proposed tax hikes on clean water, food and hygiene. And a lawmaker has reported that armed land grabbers continue to threaten communities in Gaba, Urnyaka and surrounding areas of Mangala, Payam in Juba County, leaving residents vulnerable. This is stories and more coming to in this news bulletin with me, Wol Mapal, and now the news in detail. A Kenyan national serving as an airdrop coordinator for the World Food Programme WFP was shot and killed early Tuesday morning in Boma, Nasser County. The Relief and Rehabilitation Commission in Nasser confirmed the death in a formal letter describing the incident as a tragic loss for vulnerable communities who rely on the vital aid coordinated by the deceased. According to the RRC, the attack occurred at approximately 5 a.m. The suspect, reportedly under the influence of drugs, breached a humanitarian compound before opening fire. In a statement to iRadio, Chankwad Wiyal, the acting director of the RRC in Nasser County, detailed the moments leading up to the tragedy.
Around 5 a.m. in the morning. The guy who attacked the compound of UN was a drug addict. It's a drug addict, and then he went to the compound and also he's also shoot the gunman first, and then the gunman ran away after that, and then he entered the compound of the UN and also shot the airdrop coordinator. He's the international staff. He's a Kenyan. There whereby the incident have started. Even now the commissioner is running up and down to search for this guy's local authority. They are now going to search for this man to bring him to the justice.
Efforts to reach the World Food Programme for an official statement were unsuccessful as phone calls to their office went unanswered at the time of publication. While authorities have launched a manhunt to locate and arrest the suspect, the RRC noted that the general situation in Nasser remains calm. Security forces have been deployed to monitor the area and ensure the safety of both residents and aid personnel. The RRC acknowledged the immense sacrifices made by humanitarian workers operating under high-pressure conditions in South Sudan. The Commission extended its deepest sympathies to the victims' family and the broader WFP team. A coalition of child rights and civil society organizations has urged the National Parliament to reject proposed tax hikes on clean water, food and hygiene. They instead called for increased tax on luxury and unhealthy goods to protect vulnerable families. Presenting an alternative position paper during the public hearing on Thursday last week, the coalition representative Samuel Chwal argued that the current draft risk of reversing public health gains by placing an excessive tax burden on essential goods. Under the new proposal, urban water connection fees for households would skyrocket from 10,000 SSP to 60,000 SSP, a 500% increase. He explains.
On the water sector, fees for water-related services are set to increase significantly, including site inspection from $280 to $300. Urban water connection for household from $10,000 to $60,000. Public toilet establishment from $10,000 to $50,000. We propose maintaining or reducing these fees, highlighting the direct link between water access and disease prevention, school attendance, and women's health. We call for keeping inspection fees at $280, reducing residential water connection fees to $25,000, maintaining school water connection fees at $20,000.
Chouali stated that the proposed financial bill for 2025-2026 will make clean water, food and basic hygiene unaffordable for millions of South Sudanese, as taxes are set to double.
For hygiene and food security, sanitary product and infant hygiene products are proposed to be taxed at 500 SSP per carton, up from 100 SSP. We suggest 150 SSP to keep them affordable. Basic food items such as sugar, milk, rice, cease tax doubling from 1,000 pounds to 2,000. We advise maintaining previous lower rate to support food access.
The Ministry of Finance and Planning has ordered the cancellation of all existing non-statutory tax exemptions from customs duties, taxes and other government charges. In Ministerial Order Number 11/2026, dated 17th February 2026, the Minister of Finance and Planning, Dr. Bak Banawa Chol, directed the immediate withdrawal of all approved discretionary exemptions that are not provided for under existing laws. The order, which takes effect from the date of signature, follows a resolution of the Council of Ministers on 30th January 2026 as part of broader economic recovery and structural reform measures. In simple terms, a non-statutory tax exemption refers to a waiver or relief from paying taxes or customs duties that is not clearly established or authorized by law. These exemptions were previously granted through administrative decisions rather than specific legal provisions. Withdrawing them means that the affected institutions, companies or entities will now be required to pay the relevant customs duties, taxes, fees and charges as required by the law. The order further directs the South Sudan Revenue Authority to stop honouring such exemptions and to enforce their revocation in accordance with the law. The Minister cited provisions of the Transitional Constitution, the Public Finance and Accountability Act, the Taxation Act and the Customs Service Act as the legal basis for the decision. However, the order clarifies that statutory exemptions provided for under law will remain valid. These include exemptions under the international agreements such as the Vienna Convention, Status of Forces Agreements, Petroleum Sharing Agreements, donor-funded bilateral and multilateral agreements, and other tax exemptions specifically sanctioned by the laws of South Sudan. All future requests for tax exemptions must be submitted directly to the National Minister of Finance and Planning by an equivalent constitutional office holder. The ministry said the measure is aimed at strengthening public financial management, improving revenue collection and aligning the country's tax system with regional and international best practices. This is iRadio Afternoon News. A lawmaker has reported that armed land grabbers continue to threaten communities in Garbo, Wunyaka and surrounding areas of Mangalapayam in Juba County, leaving residents vulnerable. MP Legelino, representing Mangalapayam at the State Parliament, says the land grabbing began nearly 3 years ago in the west of Garbo area and has persisted despite repeated efforts by authorities.
العملية دي طبعا حاولنا محاولات كتير جدا مع كوميشنر السابق شارل جوزيف، وحاولنا برضه في زمن الآن بتاع كوميشنر إيمانويل تيتن، ولكن واحدة من المشاكل بتاع اللاند جرابرز طبعا هم بيجوا مسلحين، يعني 70% هم بيجوا مسلحين عساكر، فدي هو واحد من المشاكل اللي خلى انه يعني مواطنين بحاولوا برضه ما بينجحوا، وإنه يحاربوا لاند جرابرز في منطقة. لكن بعد ذاك في محاولات من بيام بيجوا بيام بجيب عساكر، كوميشنر بجيب عساكر، لكن العساكر ما بيجيني طبعا permanent، هم عساكر بيجيني 2 hours 3 hours، بعد ذاك بفوت لاند جرابرز ثاني بورا بيجوا راجعين. فدي واحد من المشاكل الموجود.
Lino also says some land demarcation has been conducted in blocks 5, 8 and 9 and Juba County has announced 13 locations for boundary showings. Meanwhile, local chief Alcendra Jada says the impact is already being felt on farmland.
Commissioner kajibu konti mata underground mata liga ino ajaka anajia kadini ama nyaka ita anajia namba neno kadara zarada be kadini ya sawara umu kadini koto biyudu mahalun kadini slosa wadare salte ana bigula hakuma leno najata mamkoni makini mutiga biyamu jada hakuma lagi nitaka leno kama akila al-bezrao hakuma bigula ino najia mtidara kanena zahizra abga ala zarada biga bikilu bara yala abga ane كلام ده حكومة ده يعني ما مسموع يعني الناس كده يقول ما يزرع ولا مفهوم بده جين عشان كده احنا طالبين ان الحكومة لازم يكون تتدخل لانه كلام ده بيجي ما صح الناس طالعين في الزراعة عشان كده ينقذ الوضع الحالي يعني الوضع الحالي بيجي ما بيساعد.
The lawmaker says the intermittent deployment of soldiers leaves communities exposed as residents are unarmed while the grabbers carry weapons. He is now calling for the establishment of a permanent police station or joint security operation in the affected areas.
ممكن يكون الحل إنه لازم يكون في محل تاع بوليس أو joint operation. المحل ده يكون قاعد يعملوه عشان بعد ذاك يحامي لاند جرابرز اللي بيجي بسلاح، لأنه في النهاية يعني مواطن ما عنده سلاح، ولما يجي زول بالسلاح في النهاية ده تهديد بالنسبة للأمن بتاعه. عشان كده احنا محتاجين يكون في قوة مشتركة في جوين فورسز عشان بعد ذاك يشوفوا زول عنده سلاح يمسكوه، وأكيد هو يكون عسكري. الزول لو بقى مواطن يفصلوا بلاغ وبعد ذاك يدخلوا جوا. يعني أنا شايف ده حل.
Residents are urging authorities to ensure a sustained security presence to prevent further encroachment and protect their livelihoods. The government of Warabi State has suspended the Commissioner of Gogral East County until further notice, describing the decision as a routine administrative action and saying it is, for now, unrelated to recent deadly clashes in the area. Warabi State Information Minister Mamair Bath said the commissioner was suspended last month under the directive of the governor following violent clashes between the Nyamong and Jurmananger sections in Gogral East County. However, Bath said the reasons for the suspension were not specified at the time of the decision. In speaking to iRadio this morning, Bath said that the action should not be interpreted as punitive or directly linked to the intercommunal fighting, adding that investigations are ongoing. He further said the suspension is a normal administrative measure and that it would be premature to associate it with the recent clashes before inquiries are concluded. According to him, the decision remains procedural pending the outcome of further investigations.
Yeah, that was a suspension. It's not removed yet. And if there is the suspension is investigated and is over, then he may be reinstated in his position, or suspension may be lifted. That's the normal administrative procedure. No, I don't know. I don't know the reason that he was suspended, but it is administrative reason. Because when a restaurant, the deputy governor suspended him, there was no specific reason given, actually.
Before regional and international stories, South Sudan and Egypt have reaffirmed their commitment to closer diplomatic and regional cooperation following talks held in Juba on Tuesday. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Monday Semeya K. Kumba, met with Hazam Mamdou Fauze, where discussions centered on strengthening bilateral coordination between South Sudan and Egypt. A key focus of the meeting was preparations for the upcoming Nile Day, which South Sudan is set to host on February 22nd, 2026. Both sides described the event as an important platform for promoting cooperation among Nile Basin countries and advancing shared regional interest. The two diplomats also exchanged views on collaboration in water resources and other areas of mutual concern, underscoring their shared resolve to deepen long-standing ties and expand cooperation into broader strategic partnerships. This is our radio news. Now to the regional and international stories. We are joined by Helen Samuel.
Good afternoon and welcome to the international news. Gabon's media regulator has announced the suspension of social media platforms until further notice, saying online content has fueled conflict and deepened divisions in the country. In a televised statement on Tuesday evening, the High Authority for Communication, HAC, cited the spread of false information, cyberbullying, and the unauthorized disclosure of personal data as reasons for the decision. Its spokesperson, Jean-Claude Mendom, did not specify which platforms would be affected, but WhatsApp, Facebook, and TikTok are popular in the country. Gabon is currently transitioning from a military coup led in 2023 by General Brice Oligui Nguema, who won last year's presidential election. Elsewhere, a gold rush has gripped an informal settlement east of South African city of Johannesburg after reports spread a few days ago about the discovery of some gold particles. A resident in a poor neighborhood of the former mining town of Springs claimed to have found several nuggets while digging at an outdoor enclosure used for cattle. Dozens of people have now descended on the area and have been digging in the fenced area where the cows were once penned in, hoping to strike it rich. Armed with pickaxes and shovels, they have been sifting through the soil in scenes reminiscent of the gold rush that helped build South Africa's financial capital more than a century ago. And finally, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff said talks between Ukraine and Russia had brought about meaningful progress to end the war, as both sides prepared for a second day of negotiations in Geneva on Wednesday. However, hopes of a breakthrough remain low, with the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying it was not fair that U.S. President Donald Trump keeps asking his country to compromise, adding that peace wouldn't be achieved if victory is handed to Russia. U.S. President Donald Trump has recently suggested it is up to Ukraine to ensure talks in Switzerland are successful without mentioning Russia. The Kremlin has not wavered from its maximalist demands for Ukrainian territory. That's all for now, and back to you at the news desk.
Thank you very much, Helen Samuel. And now to the world of sports. We are joined live by Darlington Moses.
Thank you so much, Wol Mapal. In the world of sport, we are starting with home news. Leaders Al-Mariki Bentiu will take on Malakia Sports and Social Club this afternoon at 16:30 p.m. in a crucial South Sudan Premier League Round 17 fixture. Al-Mariki Bentiu topped the table with 43 points from 16 matches, having recorded 14 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. They boast an impressive goal difference of plus 42, scoring 55 goals and conceding just 13. The Bentiu Bay side heads into the match on the back of the 5 consecutive victories. Malakia Sports and Social Club sits 6th on the table with 31 points from 16 matches. They have registered 9 wins, 4 draws and 3 losses with the goal difference of 14 plus. Malakia have won 3 of the last 5 matches and will be aiming to close the gap on the top 4. Elsewhere, the Premier League has announced a new €450 million broadcasting rights deal with ESPN covering South America and the Caribbean. The agreement represents a 25% increase in value compared to the previous contract, underlining the league's expanding commercial strength. League officials say the deal reflects growing global demand for English top-flight football and strengthens the competition's international footprint. Looking ahead, Arsenal are preparing for a crucial midweek fixture against Wolverhampton Wanderers as the title race intensifies. The match is seen as vital for maintaining momentum, particularly with the rivals closely trailing in the standings. A positive result would help Arsenal solidify their positions at the top as the season approaches its decisive phase. This is all in the world of sport. I am Darlington Moses for iRadio News.
Thank you, Darlington Moses. And here brings us to the end of our news this afternoon. But first, let's have a quick recap of our headlines once again. A Kenyan national serving as an head-drop coordinator for the World Food Programme was shot and killed early Tuesday morning in Wayne Boma, Nasser County. A coalition of child rights and civil society organizations has urged the National Parliament to reject proposed tax hikes on clean water, food and hygiene. And finally, a lawmaker has reported that armed land grabbers continue to threaten communities in Gabo, Wurnyaka and surrounding areas of Mangala Payam in Juba County, leaving residents vulnerable. That is the end of iRadio News. If there is a story or event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please don't hesitate to send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It's also a WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba. Like our Facebook page, iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for news in Arabic at 1:30 hour. I am Wol Mapal on behalf of iRadio's news team. Till next time, goodbye.